And what we want to show using the fraction strips is the product of 1/2 times 3/8. Okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to get our fraction strip that shows eighths. Okay? Now this fraction strip represents a whole, so I'm going to have 8 1/8 portions on it. What we want to do is show half of 3 of the eighths. So if you just look at 3 of the eighths, okay, and we divide that in half, well, what that's going to do is it's going to give us a line right in the middle of our 3/8, okay? So if we go ahead and we shade that, okay, and we get that shaded portion, which is 1/2 of our 3/8. We notice that this divided an eighth right in half. Well, if I divided all of the other pieces in half, you'd see that you now have 16 equal pieces. So if we take a look at it from that perspective, if I have 16 equal pieces, the part that I shaded, the 1/2 of the 3/8, is 3 of those pieces. Okay? And a way that we could check this is to actually use our 16th fraction strip. And if we line that up, you can see that 1/2 of the 3/8 is going to be 3 of these 16ths. So we can say that 1/2 of 3/8 is 3/16. And then at this point you can explain to the student that another way to look at that is just to multiply the numerator and the denominator. So if I multiply 1 times 3, I'm going to get 3. If I multiply 2 times 8, I'll get 16. And so when we have fractions, it doesn't matter if we have a common denominator or not, because it's not like addition. Anytime that we multiply the numerator across, the denominators across, we are going to get the correct product, in this case 3/16. Okay, the next thing that we want to do is we actually want to model. We want to show that 1/2 of 3/4 is equal to 3/8. Now I explained in the last video that if you just multiply the numerators across and you multiply the denominators across, that you should get 3/8, and this is in lowest form. But we're going to show that using our 1/4 fraction strip. Okay? So I have a 1/4 fraction strip here. What I want to do is I want to shade 3/4 of it, because that's what we're going to take half of. So let's go ahead and shade 3/4. Alright, now if we want to take half of it, we're going to take this and we're going to fold it in half. Okay, what that's done is that's actually given us 8 parts to this fraction strip now, because I now have 8 equal rectangles now that I've folded the strip with 4 rectangles in half. So what we want to do is we want to shade 1/2 of those, okay? But we only want to shade half of the ones that are already shaded. Okay, so if we take another one here, okay? And we only count the ones that have been double shaded, all right, which is 1/2 of the 3/4 that we had previously shaded. We're going to see that out of the 8 sections that we have 3 sections that are double shaded. So this shows us that 1/2 of 3/4 is going to be equal to 3/8. Next, we're going to show how to do some division with fractions. First, we want to show it just using some modeling tiles. So suppose I had 12 divided by 3. Okay? What I'm looking for is how many groups can I make of 3 out of the 12. So if I did 12 divided by 3, I'd have a group of 3 there, a group of 3 there, a group of 3 there, and a group of 3 there. And you notice that we have 4 groups. So if I can divide 12 by 3 into 4 groups, then 12 divided by 3 has to be equal to 4. Now what if we do this with fractions? Well, let's say I have 1/2 and I want to do 1/2 divided by 1/6. Okay, what I'd have to do is I'd have to see how many groups of 1/6 I could get into 1/2. So we'll take our 1/6 fraction tile, and if we line it up, you notice that 3 groups go in. So I can just take this and say that 1/2 divides by 1/6 3 times. So 1/2 divided by 1/6 would be equal to 3. Now another way to look at this is to look at the inverse of this fraction, the reciprocal. So if I had 1/2 times 6/1, okay, well then, as we learned earlier, just multiply the numerators across, the denominators across, and I would have 6 divided by 2, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. So breaking it up into groups or multiplying by the reciprocal is going to give us the same answer. Okay, so let's take a look at this with 1/4 divided by 1/8. So if I have 1/4, what I want to see is how many groups of 1/8 can I put into it? Well, if I take my 1/8 tiles, you're going to notice that 2 groups of 1/8 go into 1/4. So 1/4 divided by 1/8 would be equal to 2. Now if we apply the same thing, if I multiply by the reciprocal, or just flip the fraction, 1 times 8 is going to be 8, 4 times 1 is going to be 4, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. Again, same answer. Okay, so what about a whole number divided by a fraction? Well, I'm going to start with the whole number 1. And let's say I want to divide 1 by 1/3. So I'm going to take my 1/3 fraction tile, and I see how many groups of 1/3 will actually go into 1. And as you can see, they line up, and we have 3 groups. So 1 divided by 1/3 is going to be equal to 3. Now we can apply the same thing that we did on the previous exercises. But what may be confusing for students is, how do you take a whole number and make it a fraction? Well, any number divided by 1 is itself. So I can rewrite the first term as 1 over 1. And then to divide, what I'm going to do is again flip the fraction. And so it'll be 1 over 1 times 3 over 1. And if I multiply across the numerator and denominator, numerator multiplied is 3, denominators multiplied is 1, and as I just said, any number divided by itself, or by 1, is itself, so 3 divided by 1 would be equal to 3.